knock out a quick stream, on my way to the gym. Well, I'm going to the gym first, go to the gym to work out, do my morning stretches and all that good stuff, and get prepared for the day, So, give me 1 second, you guys. So, well, I do love the fact that I don't have to run into no traffic. Well, I left early enough, due to the fact that it took me like an hour to get down there, but nevertheless. So, basically, what's going on today is September the 5th, 2023. Now, according to reports, as of last week, we supposed to get word on what's going on with Shakur Stevenson versus Frank Martin for a potential early November showdown. That's what was the latest word, that if they couldn't reach a deal, that they would go to a purse bid. So today is the 5th. So hopefully we get an announcement today what's going on with Shakur Stevenson versus Frank Martin. So, at the end of the day, we get basically a date and a location, and as far as the time go, well, depending on where you are, in all likelihood, that's going to be the main event. If it's in the East Coast, more than likely the bell would ring at around, midnight. So, we'll just have to see. But, nevertheless, hopefully we get an announcement today announcing this fight. They're still working out some kinks with Devin Haney and Regis Prograis, but I expect that fight to get finalized. Hopefully we hear something this week. And then, according to Demetrius Andrade, he say basically he's waiting on David Benavidez to sign his end of the contract and send it back. It appears that allegedly that a contract has been sent to David Benavidez to sign the fight, to which they can have a showdown sometime in the near future. I'm looking forward to that fight. This is going to be a very interesting fight. I briefly broke down that fight, I think about a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a week and a half ago, saying that could possibly be a controversial fight based off the style and basically who they may be going for. So I think that's going to be a very interesting fight. Who do I think going to win? Like I said, I think it could end in controversy. I can see it be a controversial decision for David Benavidez or Demetrius Andrade. So, we'll just have to see. But hopefully we can get an announcement with the Frank Martin Shakur Stevenson fight, because to be honest with you, that's a fight I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm looking forward to seeing Frank Martin versus Shakur Stevenson, because I think it's going to be a technical chess match fight, but I think it'll have enough excitement in it to keep people interested. It's not going to be one of them fights that's going to be like Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. It's going to have some action. I think possibly the first round and a half may be kind of slow, but then I think as we get deeper into the fight, I think that's when it will kick off. It's going to kind of be like what you call one of those action pictures where it take a little bit of time to set up everything, and then once it gets going, it gets going. But Shakur Stevenson has not been involved in any kind of boring fights, even when he dominates, when he makes a lot of these fighters look average. So, like I said, I'm looking forward to the fight. I'm looking forward to getting an announcement hopefully soon. So hopefully it'll be sometime later on today. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning where I'm at. Some of y'all, it's like 7 a.m., 6 a.m., 5 a.m., depending on where you at. So hopefully we hear something today. So, the latest on Bomac is basically the latest on Bomac. You really haven't heard any details except that he was detained and taken into custody because they found a firearm in his luggage. You haven't heard any real details. You haven't heard anything about them basically running the gun, you know, looking to see who does the gun belong to, who is registered to. And like I said, a lot of people just found it strange that this happened, because the thing is, I looked on Wikipedia, and Manchester Airport is an international airport. It's a commercial airline. So that just didn't make any kind of sense to just hear about what happened with Bomac. Everybody's scratching their head like, okay, how did this happen? And you know, I'm not gonna talk conspiracy theory and all that kind of stuff. You know, some people are already talking conspiracy theory, but this is very crucial. And due to the fact 12:39, you must be in Hawaii. Toby, you must be in, oh, okay, you in the UK? Oh, okay. Hey, Toby, how far is you from London? Maybe you go get some pictures at the get some footage at the what's it? At Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury. They having a luncheon tomorrow, something like that. I got the notification. We know I won't be there. That's for damn sure. I can't even get a passport. Well, I haven't even tried to get a passport, but shout out to everybody in the chat. Yeah, I know. Free Bomac. For sure. For sure. Yeah. The thing is, a lot of people are saying, well, has Bomac made bail and stuff. Y'all got to understand, the UK is totally different. Hey, Toby, if you can find out some stuff, send it to me, bro. Because if you in the UK, could you find out what's the status on Brian McIntyre? Really would appreciate it, because they really haven't released any details. Y'all have to understand, the UK ain't like the United States, where AKA you get to make your one phone call. You get to make your one phone call, and then you get to try to set up bail and all this kind of stuff. If Bomac was in the States, he would already be out. Now, the reports are saying that Bomac is going to be arraigned October the 9th. Now, it's no guarantee that Bomac is going to get out. I hope he gets out. I really hope he gets out. And they're also talking about that Bomac is looking at possibly 5 years. Well, I'm just going to keep it a buck. I'm going to keep it a buck. Nah, I ain't going to say nothing, because no telling who might be listening. No telling who might be listening. Oh. No telling who might be listening, because I was just going to say, well, you know what? If Bomac get out, he know what he need to do. If he get out October the 9th, he know what he need to do. And he get back to the States, he know what he need to do. All I know is Bomac was on his way to Atlanta, and miraculously they came and opened up his luggage, according to reports that they got some kind of tip, and they found a weapon up in there. And the key question is, everybody is asking, well, how did the weapon get up in there? How did he get the weapon there in the first place, if he brought the weapon there with him? Because at the end of the day, if you bring a weapon, especially across the water, you have to go through the TSA. You have to go through a few people. You have to have a certain kind of carrying. You have to have a certain kind of carrying case that's TSA approved. You have to go check it in, and that's just to bring it on a plane, basically across the states. So I don't know what the regulation is out there, and this isn't Bomac's first time going overseas. This is why a lot of people just find this funny, and a lot of people say, well, damn, it's ironic. As soon as they announced the Errol Spence Terrence Crawford rematch, all of a sudden this happens to Bomac, and Bomac was, riding high. He was coming off the biggest victory of Terrence Crawford's career versus Errol Spence. He goes to the UK, and Eubanks gets his revenge versus Liam Smith. And then all of a sudden you hear about this, and you like, you gotta be kidding me. And then of course you have the stupid Negroes that start making the Ja Morant references. Totally two different situations. And like I said, a lot of y'all sound like the very white supremacists that you love to claim racism against by comparing two brothers that have two totally different situations. And like I said, that's the big question. Like, well, if it was his, why wasn't they worried about it when he entered the country? But then all of a sudden they find him trying to leave the country with it. And I just feel like Bomac at this point, at the end of the day, in most places, even when you go overseas, even when you leave the country, usually they provide law enforcement. They provide local law enforcement to make sure you go from point A to point B if you request it. And that's pretty much everywhere. So this is why I find this situation with Bomac just very peculiar. And I hope that we get more details, because I just don't even like hearing about this. I am worried about what's going on with Bomac. I started to reach out to Team Crawford, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna let them try to figure this out and see what they can do for Bomac. Hopefully they can find a way to get Bomac arraigned for him to make whatever type of bond he can get, and then basically be able to fly back to the States. Because like I said, this is the most odd thing that I ever heard happen to somebody. Now, keep in mind, they don't have a definitive date. They haven't announced a date for the rematch with Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. Now, keep in mind, this is real talk. I did see some of the Errol Spence fanny boys celebrating what happened to Bomac. Which I think is trash. Well, that's not out of the ordinary for somebody to possibly do something like that, because this do sound like something out. This do sounds like something out of a movie. Now, for those people that are sitting up there happy that Bomac got taken into custody, and they thinking that, well, Bomac won't be available to train Terrence Crawford for the rematch versus Errol Spence, which will probably, they think, in their warp-sided minds, oh, well, this may better Errol Spence's chance of beating Terrence Crawford in the rematch, or Terrence Crawford's mind ain't gonna be in the right place. Y'all really that happy about what's going on with Bomac? Bomac's still a brother, man. So I'm sorry, I'm not riding with y'all on that. So hopefully they can find a way to get Bomac out of there quicker than October the 9th. That means he got to stay in there pretty much a whole month and some change. I just think that's absurd. I think that's absurd. I think it's crazy. So like I said, hopefully Bud can get some lawyers involved and just try to figure out a way to get Bomac out of there. And that's just real talk. Because I want to see him freed. Now, for those who think that Terrence Crawford can't push the rematch back, Oh, he can push the rematch back. He doesn't necessarily have to take that date December, because Terrence Crawford is the A side going into the second fight. So he can sit up there and say, well, hey, I want to push the fight back a couple of months till we see what's going on with Bomac. They don't have to have a definitive date. Or yeah, I understand that too, that that we just won't both. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I'm Terrence Crawford, I'm pushing that fight back. Because he doesn't have to fight in December. He can push that fight back. But nobody understands. That's what everybody is saying. All of a sudden they get a tip, and they decide to look into his luggage. Now, keep in mind, nobody's been able to talk to Bomac. They probably immediately confiscated his phone, because I remember I called Bomac when they were overseas in Saudi Arabia. They had a fight in Saudi Arabia, so Bomac's phone is international, and I had hit him up, and he was in Saudi Arabia. So the first thing he probably did is make sure that he could possibly try to get a lawyer to help him, you know what I'm saying, make some kind of arrangement to get released. So his phone is international. You know, Bomac is not going to sit up there and get on social media. The moment they arrested him, they probably took him into custody, and they probably took his phone. So like I said before, all you brothers that's sitting up there gloating and happy what happened to Bomac happened because you think that's going to better Errol Spence's chances of beating Terrence Crawford. And at this point, like I said, if I'm Terrence Crawford, I ain't even thinking about no fight. My goal, my mission is to get Bomac out of custody and get him home safely to the States. And here's the thing, in all likelihood, if Bomac gets out of this thing, he's gonna, in all likelihood, be banned from the UK. So like I said, it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing to hear about this. Well, yeah, that's what I would do, Vegas Mark. If I'm Bud, I'd be like, I'd call the PBC. I'd be like, yeah, I got some news for y'all. There won't be no fight on December the 9th. Not till we see what's going on with Bomac. Now what's gonna happen is, if they do push the fight back, you're gonna see, because these dudes are so predictable. They're so predictable to where you already know what they're gonna do. And you know who gonna be the main culprit. They're gonna say Bud is being a coward and he shouldn't worry about Bomac, and he just trying to buy time and he making excuses. Man, the hell with y'all. The hell with y'all. Okay, appreciate that, Toby. So Toby says that the gun showed up in a X-ray screen, and then they checked his bag and they found it. Okay. they had got a tip. Okay, appreciate that. Man, if he beat the case, I ain't even worried about suing nobody. I'm not coming out here to be going back and forth court. I would come, man, I would set foot out there. Okay, appreciate it. So Toby basically said that they found it. Well, that's even worse. Well, that's even worse. No telling who he was around. So that's even worse. Okay, appreciate that, Toby. So this, okay, so yeah, I'm gonna do a follow-up video. Yeah, if I'm Bomac, I ain't even remotely thinking about coming back out there. I'm just keeping it a buck. My thing is, if I'm Team Crawford, I'm calling the PBC and I'm gonna say whatever is going on with Bomac, there ain't gonna be no fight December. Not that we find out what's going on with Bomac. We pushing this fight back to whenever. Hopefully, now if Bomac gets out if Bomac is arraigned and they let him out October the 9th, then fine. But I'm not making no commitment to no second fight until I find out what's going on with Bomac. Yeah, what up, Timmy? Well, you know what, Timmy? I'm trying to be cool because I'm trying not to give people, material. Because you know what they're going to say? They're going to say, they're making excuses. And, now people, the Aerosmith fanny boys is finna go into full-fledged Ward Cleaver about why you shouldn't have a firearm and all this kind of stuff. And Bomac brought this on himself. We don't know what happened. And this is why I'm telling everybody to wait. Let me explain to you guys. Even when I go, I don't even fly across the water. When I unpack, I fully unpack before you know what I'm saying? I make sure nobody ain't around me, none of that stuff. I don't let nobody near my luggage or any of my personal property, because it's easy for somebody to slip and put something in your baggage. Because like I said, we don't know who Bomac been around. Well, whatever the case may be, that's why I'm saying we need to wait and see what happens. But my thing is, if I need to carry a firearm and I'm going overseas, then I don't need to go to that place. And then at the same time, one thing about me, wherever I go, I do research. I look at what is the requirement for firearms. You should always look at, even when you go to a different state, you need to look at the requirements. What are the laws as far as that respective state, as far as transporting and carrying firearms on you, that kind of stuff. You need to look up what are the laws of having, any type of paraphernalia on you, whether it's legal or illegal, because marijuana is still legal in certain states, or you only can have a certain amount. I think in California you could carry up to a few pounds on you. So that's why I'm trying to figure out what's going on with Bomac. We all want to know, and we want to hear from Bomac. And the thing is, with Bomac, you just have to ask yourself, let's just say Bomac did bring one there. Why, you know what I'm saying? How did it pass through the x-rays when he came, you know what I'm saying? When he got into the country. Keep in mind, they very peculiar about that kind of stuff. When people from other countries come in, that's one thing that they are very particular about, And I don't have to travel overseas to understand that they very particular about people that come into a different country that's from somewhere else, because one thing is huge in other countries is smuggling. You know, we already know that they be having a lot of illegal arms dealers and dudes that deal with illegal pharmaceuticals. So you have to ask yourself, what went on? What happened? So that's why I'm still asking that question. Why would Bomac bring a weapon? Why would he take a weapon? Why would he feel the need to take a weapon with him? And as I said before, well, if it was his, how did it get in there in the first place? How did it get past customs and the x-ray the first time? And I'm pretty sure, here's the thing. You check your luggage and baggage in the same way, leaving as you do coming in. You get to have a carry-on for most cases, depending on what airlines you fly. You have the luggage that you have to pay for. You have the equipment that you have to pay for. Then you get one free personal item, which is like a bag or something. And then if you have an extra item that you want to put in the plane, ride with you alongside in the plane, they make you pay for that. So like I said, the whole x-ray thing is where the questions lie, because you still have to go through that same x-ray, bringing your bags in. Now keep in mind, Bomac came from the States. Now I do know that Nebraska is an open carry state. So, like I said, we gonna find out. But anyway, you guys, we'll discuss this more later. Appreciate y'all.